Hi everyone, it's me, Cree Girl Tanisha. So, I decided to do this little series about dating and stuff. The series is about dating, red flags, green flags, older guys, and stuff like that. So that's what this series is going to be about. I don't know how many videos it's going to be, but it's just going to be me talking about these things. Just leave your opinions in the comments. So anyways, the first part is it's a story time. This happened, it was a long time ago before I had kids, and this was when I used to live in the res. So back then, when I was 18, I just graduated high school and I was in university. Around this time, I think I was probably in I was in my first year of university. During this time, I was like newly single because I was in 2 serious relationships before this, and I decided that I just needed to be single because I was continuously getting cheated on in my last 2 relationships, and I was like, I don't want to even try anymore, and whatever, I'm not committing to anyone. Guys would message me, and sometimes some guys I wouldn't message back because I wasn't interested in them, and then some guys were kind of maybe I would be interested in them but not really. There was this one guy, and he was one of those guys that I wasn't really interested in, but for some reason I still entertained it with conversations, and this was a huge mistake. In this story, I'm gonna name him Abraham. So anyways, Abraham was always in my messages talking to me. Sometimes I reply and say stupid things like, yeah, someday we'll chill, someday I'll come to your res, or someday you'll come to my res and we'll hang out. But I was lying. I would say stupid stuff to that guy because kind of had a history with this boy. When I was 14, I had a crush on this guy and I really liked him, and he was from a res that's an hour away from mine. But then I just started liking other guys. When I was 18, he was still trying to talk to me. I also didn't know this guy very well because I never hung out with him. I saw him outside the store in his res, and I was about to go back to my res, and then he asked me if I would kiss him, and then I said yeah, and I kissed him, and then I never saw him again. But we still talked online and stuff, but honestly I don't really remember seeing him again after that. Until so back then, I liked to party. I was a party girl, and this guy was a party guy. So usually when we're messaging each other, he would be drinking or I would be drinking, or I would be at work because I did have a job at this time. I had Facebook, and he would always comment on my posts and stuff, flirting with me, and I would flirt back, and my mom noticed this as well. This is when the story starts, I guess. I was working one day, and I worked evenings. So I was working one evening. I worked from 4 to 10 p.m. It was not almost the end of my shift. While I was at work, he was suddenly messaging me saying, hey, what's up? I'm in your res, and do you want to hang out? We should hang out. And then I was like, sure, we could hang out, but after, when I'm done work, maybe I'll come see you wherever you are. But then I told him where I worked. I got kind of busy at work, I was doing stuff. Walking around, I was had to do some stuff. I wasn't able to go on my phone because I was so busy for about half an hour or something. When I finally was able to look at my phone, he was messaging me and he was like, okay, I see, well, we could hang out right now, I'll come to your work. Should I come there right now? I'm gonna come there. I messaged him right away. I was like, no, don't come here. Please don't come here. I don't know. I didn't want to hang out with someone while I was working. What the heck? Don't bring your boyfriend to work. Life tip. So yeah, I was like, I'm working and I can't hang out right now. And then a few minutes later, this man walks into my workplace. He was drunk. He was drunk AF, and he smelled like alcohol, and his clothes were dirty. I was like, oh my god, I did not know that he looked like that. I didn't expect him to be like drunk AF. And I was like, you can't be in here. So I was like, let's go outside to my car and we'll have a cigarette, okay? Oh my god, another thing that I noticed, I literally remember to this day that he looked like he didn't brush his teeth for a long time, and I don't know. So I was like, let's go, because I didn't want him in my work. So we went in my car, and I was like actually so pissed off. I basically just wanted to tell him to go back to wherever the heck he came from, and he can't hang out at my work. Another thing is that my reserve is in the north, and it's so cold there in the winter time, and it was like in the middle of January, and it was like -30 every day. Another thing is that my car was broken. The freaking heat was broken, so when I was driving, like the air would only blow out cold air, not warm air. So I wasn't really using my car that much. Like I would just drive it to work or I would drive it home, but I wasn't using my car because the heat was broken. Unfortunately, I had to tell this guy, like, you're gonna have to sit in my cold car while I work and do my job. Honestly, I did feel kind of bad because I was like, why did I entertain this guy, and now he's sitting in my car, and I didn't really like him, and I did feel bad. But I was like, you didn't have to show up at my job. And I was pissed off and I didn't want to hang out with him anymore. So I was like, you're gonna have to leave and I don't want to hang out after work. And he was like, well, I don't have anywhere else to go right now because I was just at a party and now I have nowhere else to go. He had a phone, so I was like, well, you're gonna have to find somewhere else to go. Like, you can sit in here and charge your phone, and then like you can come inside to warm up, but you're not chilling in my work. He was like, well, maybe I could just come inside, and I was like, no. So he would come inside like periodically and like warm up inside my work. He would just walk around and then he would go back to my car. I thought he was just looking for places to go, and I guess he didn't find one because he stayed in my car until I was done work. I was so annoyed because I thought that he would have found somewhere to go and he would have been gone, but he was still in my car and he was still drunk AF for some reason. And I remember he was just like being so annoying, talking so loud and like laughing and yelling, and I was like, I didn't know he was like this. I didn't talk on the phone with him. Like, I just messaged him and flirted with him sometimes. Anyways, he did know people from my res, and I knew that he knew people from my res, so I was like, we're gonna go drop you off at these people who you know, okay? We're gonna go try and find them, and you're gonna go to their house because why did you just show up and make yourself my responsibility just because we talk sometimes? He was like, okay. So we went to those places and they weren't there, and my car was cold and I was like dressed warm. I had a parka and a scarf, but like I was already cold, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna go to my house because I'm so cold. And we went to my house. He started shoveling my walkway for some reason. Our walkway from my car to my steps. And this was the first time he ever came to my house, and this was probably like the first time we ever actually hung out. So I went inside my mom's shack. I went in there to have a cigarette, and she was in there and she was like, who's that outside? And I was like, that's that guy from the other res, and he's here. He's drunk AF and his clothes are dirty and his teeth are dirty. I remember her telling me not to say stuff like that, but it was true. Personal hygiene is a must for me. I was like, he's here and he is drunk. He has nowhere else to go, honestly. She was like, I saw you flirting with him on Facebook. I was like, well, I didn't know he was gonna be like that. I don't know, I was just like so like, well, if you're indigenous you might understand this, or if you're Cree, but she literally said this. She was like, uh-huh, that's what you get. That's what you get for trying to mush. That's what she said to me. And I wasn't. I swear to God, I was not trying to mush this guy. I don't know what to say. And I was just like, you're right, Mom. I shouldn't have been messaging this guy. I regretted talking to him, obviously. And I regretted, like, even entertaining that because I wasn't interested in him and I knew I wasn't interested in him. Anyways, I was like, "Okay, guy, you can sleep in my bed, okay? But I'm going to sleep in my sister's room. At least you have a warm place. Go ahead and sleep in here." So I went to go sleep with my sister, and when I woke up, he was gone. My room smelled like alcohol, and I totally regretted talking to him, and I was honestly embarrassed about the whole situation. I learned my lesson. This is why we have standards. This is why we don't just talk to anybody. I don't know how I feel after telling that story. That was a dating horror story, and I definitely learned my lesson. And I'm honestly embarrassed for 18-year-old me. So, bye.